Had to move to a different device. Hey, everybody, welcome. Come on in. It's Nick Perro on Banner and Backbone Network, and I wanted to talk about uh, the breaking news of the day, which is John Bolton had a lovely surprise visit by the FBI this morning in the wee hours, and we need to talk about weaponization of the FBI and our judicial system, the weaponization of our government in general. And if we get a couple of our friends in, also in the network, I'll pull them on, some of our other co-hosts, and we're going to talk about this because John Bolton had a visit by the um FBI today, and that's fucked up because, yeah, he didn't really do anything. Um, and you can't just make up and trump up fucking charges, Trump, who said he didn't know anything about it, by the way. You can't just make up and do fucked up charges, and pretend that, um, like those are real and that they're going to hold up in court. And yeah, you can make this a kangaroo country and a kangaroo government all you want, or you can try, but you can't win. Like, you're not going to win on that because the people are going to keep fucking pushing back, and we're not going to go quiet on this. And guess what, Don? You're still in the fucking Epstein files. And that's really what you're trying to hide right now. You're trying to hide the fact that you are in the Epstein files and you're all over those files, and you have done heinous, heinous crimes against all of these women and girls at the time. You abused, you raped, and you hurt girls that we allegedly. That's what it is. That's what it's alleging. That's what would be in the files if we reveal them. That's what's being alleged, is that you're a pedophile and that you're a gross human fucking being, Donald Trump. You're a petty dictator. You're a tiny man. You're weak and you're pathetic. So what do? You bring up fake charges and fake reasons to have the FBI go visit your former national security advisor, John Bolton. Because why? Oh, because he spoke out against you. Because he speaks out against you right now. Hey, Tech, welcome everybody as you come in. Kat, I see you. Caro, I see you. Carrie, it's good to see you. Morgan, I go enjoy your workout while you're with us. Linda, glad you're here too. Everybody, glad you're all coming in. The big Kat, if I didn't say your name also. The big thing is Trump is faking charges and faking that he didn't know about it, again, because he's a lying piece of shit, who is distracting from the Epstein files. He's distracting from what is going on. He is trying to hide the fact that the government is not willing to release a set of files that explicitly says this piece of shit is all over them. Give me a second, folks. I'm going to change my plug setup in the back real quick, just so I'm charging my phone. Just give me 1 second. I'll be right back on the screen as I work internet magic or phone magic, hopefully. Okay, there we are. We are charging again. Okay, so yeah, and the verbal comment, thank you for putting that, Chris, is he didn't know anything about the raid at Bolton's, also called himself the highest law enforcement official, which he's not. He's not the highest law enforcement official. He is the commander-in-chief of the military, and he can assign the director of the FBI and the enforcement apparatus and things like that in the government, but he is not the highest legal official in this country, or law enforcement official in this country. That's not power the president has. That's not the power granted or vested to the president in the Constitution. President is vested the power of commanding the army and being the executive to approve or deny bills and laws that are passed. But he's not the executive law enforcement officer. I, I don't remember learning about that in the Constitution. Um, and in fact, the Supreme Court is the executive over the law of the Constitution because they are supposed to interpret laws and regulations and deem are they constitutional, which means are they lawful? Are they allowed to be law? I understand that's different than law enforcement. And yes, he has the final say due to executive ability to fill offices. He can appoint people to be law enforcement officers, but Pam Bondi is the executive law enforcement officer of this country. She's the attorney general. She is the head of the Justice Department, which is separate from the executive. It is supposed to remain independent of the executive because justice is supposed to be served without fear or favor. Without fear or favor means you are not afraid to indict someone or put someone under legal pressure because they have broken the law, without fear that there will be retribution from the government for doing so. Donald Trump has explicitly said there will be retribution if you, in no uncertain terms, as he said, there will be retribution if you don't follow his law, not the law, not the Constitution, but his law. The Constitution is in the way of Donald Trump. His law is the only law that is important. He is not the head of the legal, executive, or the law enforcement agencies of these countries. He is not the head. Pam Bondi is. She is supposed to be an independent law enforcement regulator without fear or favor. Favor means you're not doing, say, a quid pro quo of hiding the Epstein files because you know your good buddy Don is all over them. So you instructed those under you, such as the FBI, to scrub your name and scrub files, thousands of files of your name and your personal identifying information or context that would identify you as Donald Trump in those files. Pam Bondi is supposed to be the final say, independent of you, but you don't believe in that because you're anti-constitutional. You're anti-American. He is a criminal. He is a fascist. He is a weak man who aspires to be a dictator and sees the Constitution as a relic of the past, just like the word groceries. He sees us as the enemy because we're poor. We're peasants to him. We're peons. We're nothing. We're dirt beneath his feet. And if it gets in the way of Donald Trump and Donald Trump's law, McFellen, yep. If it gets in the way of McFellen's laws and McFellen's dictates, then in his mind, it is against the law because he is the law in his mind. That's why he believes he is the law enforcement chief, because he has delusions of grandeur like any child does, like any 12-year-old boy has delusions of grandeur when they're children to rule over everyone without consequence. Yet there are consequences in the real world. And when you're done being president, you go back to being a citizen. And Donald Trump, if you are able to be out of office in 4 years, 3.5 years, if you are able to walk this earth still at that time, we will relentlessly pursue you without fear or favor, but with relentless pursuit. And if the laws are not strong enough for the acts you have committed, we will make stronger laws. We will make harsher punishments. And we will enforce those because the most severe punishments should be those that are anti-democratic, anti-republic, and anti-constitutional. They want to claim that we are a constitutional republic. Well, fuck, we are. Yes. Do you know what a republic is, though, you MAGA fucks? A republic is a democracy of people. It is people coming together with voices of power represented by those they choose. And we are living under tyranny once again. We live under the tyrannical rule of a dictator who wishes to be more than a president, who thinks is of one. He thinks out of many, one means one, dictates the many. E pluribus unum, out of many, one. That is our motto. That is who America is. That is what this country is. Not one from many. Not one dictates the many. As our president and your favored Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, the Republican president, of the people, by the people, and for the people. That is our government, representative of the people, by the people, and for the people. You have abdicated that role. You are not faithfully executing your laws. You had no intention of upholding the Constitution because you're an anti-constitutional fuck. You need to be removed from office and tried for treason. Going back to what this topic is really about is John Bolton. John Bolton got visited by the FBI. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton to Donald J. Trump himself, as he was President 45, as he likes to claim he hires the best and only the best. John Bolton got a visit from the FBI today, this morning, because nothing. Because terror, because Donald Trump cannot rule without terror and fear, and that's all he is, because weak men can do nothing but try and make others afraid and feel just as weak as them. Because that's all they can do is they can throw their weakness at others, and that's all it is. It is a weak and pitiful and pathetic man who has no morals and no values and does not represent America. He does not represent what America is about because he cannot. He is anti-American. He is anti-constitutional. He is a plant. He is a Russian asset and a plant to destroy the American system and the American constitutional order. And we must stand up and push back. I don't care about John Bolton, the person, but I care about is what the FBI is doing and what they're becoming. They're becoming a secondary Gestapo agent to ICE. They're becoming a secondary internal policing force to ICE. They are a much stronger and much more put together policing force and security and information gathering force than ICE ever was and ever will be. It's the FBI. The CIA. We haven't heard much from the CIA because Dan Bingo Bongo Bongino sucks and hasn't released the files yet because he knows what's in them. And Dan Bingo Bongo Bongino, you suck. You can release those files. I invite you onto my podcast to come and talk with me. I invite you on to come tell all. Come be a whistleblower, Bingo Bongo Bongino. You suck, but I'd have you on to let you talk. But we haven't heard a word from the CIA. But guess what happened before John Bolton had a visit from the FBI this morning? John Bolton had a visit by the FBI this morning, preceded by Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, putting out a cryptic tweet that FBI agents are on the way, that there's something important going on. Guess what? That's also illegal. That's also an inappropriate use of the title and agency of the FBI and the use of social media as the director. Because what you say is what the government says, and there's a special power that comes with that. And these people have no respect for that power, and that's why they do what they do, because nobody's telling them they can't. Because just like the little 12-year-old boys they are, they've never been told no in a way that they haven't been able to go around. It's as much as I want to say it's performative, it's not. It's not performative for them because as much as it looks like a performance, it's not a performative thing any longer because it's real. Like it's a real terror campaign. That's what they're doing. They're trying to inflict terror on other Americans and say to people like me, to journalists, to people who put out podcasts. I don't call myself a journalist. I'm a podcaster. I write poetry and I discuss things that I care about. I'm a civically minded person who just has a voice and stood up and said enough. But they're going to come after folks like me, and they're doing it first by coming after the most powerful and saying, hey, look, we can do it to them. We can definitely do it to you. It's why Pam Bondi, or it's why Christy Nome allowed the DHS account on Twitter to post predator drone video of protesters saying that they had them in their eye. That is also a very, very blatant violation of DHS policy written into the fucking policy by Congress, because Congress makes laws and rules. The executive just fills the department. They're violating those. They're violating their oaths of office. They're treasonous. They are anti-American and they're hurting Americans, whether they claim that they're illegals or not, because they're making Americans who don't look like me afraid to go outside. They're making Americans who don't look like you or me or have a voice like mine or who are veterans or some protected class that they can't go after right now or yet, or that they're quietly going after right now. They are going after our neighbors. They're going after family. We have friends in this community who have spouses who are naturalized citizens or maybe temporary visas or who are working their way towards citizenship. They're making terror for us because they are saying, we know you're here. We're afraid. It's okay to be afraid. I'm afraid too, but I'm not going to stop speaking because I'm not going to let fear paralyze me. America is built, and the American way is to rebel. And Americans believe in freedom above anything else, especially white Americans. White Americans, y'all claim to believe in freedom above anything else. You guys fucking, we all talk about guns and using them to protect ourselves against a tyrannical government and rising up as we, the people, together forming a beautiful militia to rise against the tyranny of the oppressor. Well, the oppressor is here, the tyranny is here, and you're silent because you are a part of the tyranny. It was never about you, but guess what? There are millions of us who are against the tyranny. There are millions of us who care. There are millions of us who stand up and say, no, no more, not again, never again. It's enough. So what is civics and what are we doing here and why are we here is because you all have made the choice to say not enough or never again or too much. Sorry, not enough has been done to stop this, and yet never again should we allow this to happen. You are all here because of that. That's what civics is. We wanted to give you an entry point to learn and to be engaged and to speak out more and to be more courageous, because if you can see us doing it, I hope you can see yourselves doing it. And if you can't see yourself doing it, I hope you can see your neighbor who, or your friend who has wished they could do this and go encourage them to do it, because that is civics. Having someone speak out and giving them the bravery to also speak out and know that it's okay and that you're there to have their back. That is civics. That is America, because that is what we do. We help each other. We lift each other up. We support each other because America is a community. America is a dream and a promise for freedom, liberty, and justice for all, the pursuit of happiness. They're crushing and stomping, they're curb stomping to get into a disgusting phrase and hateful phrase, because it is that phrase has a lot of bigotry in it. And I use it with none of that bigotry. but I use it with all of the force of the hate that I feel towards these people as they're curb stomping us into oblivion. They're shoving our teeth against a curb and they're stomping on the back of our heads because they're gangsters and they're thugs and they're pathetic human beings who are anti-American. They're constitutionalists, they're anti-federalists, they're anti-republicanists, they're anti-everything that we stand for as a country. But you all are not. You all are American. You all are patriots. You are all for this country because what we believe in is liberty and justice for all, for the pursuit of happiness for all, for sanctity and life for all. And that means we must first start in the homeland and do it here. Florida had a good start with this, with a court blocking and ordering the dismantling of alligator Alcatraz. Whether that happens or not, I doubt it. I doubt it will. But it's a start because people are standing up. People are saying, no, I doubt it will stop yet. It's going to get worse before it gets better. We know this. We all know this. But our duty is to do it as peacefully and patriotically as possible, and to get as many people as possible into this discussion and into this community. And I see the hearts when I say peaceful and patriotic, and I appreciate that because that's what it's about. Because this country will fall, and this country will fold, and this country will destroy and descend into a civil war and chaos that we are not prepared for if we do not go into this with eyes wide open and a mindset of peaceful and patriotic action and engagement. That's all we have to do. We have to maintain peaceful and patriotic action as long as possible. And and use every tool and lever that we can. That's why Banner and Backbone exists. That's why so many of you have joined us. That's why we have now raised over $1,000 for donating to an Epstein-related cause and to one of the victims who are trying to, or tools that are trying to reveal the truth so that the survivors and the victims can have closure, and so that we can put these disgusting men and the women that participated too, but the men who have allowed this and made this possible for so many generations. We are proud that every single one of you has joined us so far, and all of those who have donated and become paid subscribers with Banner and Backbone. I cannot thank you enough for the support you offer, because that money is going to go for a cause. We have not been able to get yet with Allison Gill, but we are working on it. We are working very closely to get to work with her and to use all of the power that we have to assist in that FOIA request to reveal the information about what was in the training videos to the FBI agents to redact Donald Trump's name. Because if we get that information, one, it reveals that they needed to redact the name. Two, and most importantly, it gives us clues as to what information was redacted, where, why, and how. Because we have really smart people on our side who are able to put the pieces together and identify these little bits. Ellie Leonard, you know her. She is an incredible resource that we have because she's a powerful muckraker, which means she's an investigative journalist. She gets into the dirt and the muck and she figures out what's going on and she finds the truth and she puts pieces together and she finds answers for us to be able to continue asking more questions on until we get to the root of this evil and root it out and excise it from our country and end it. Because if we can do that here, we can then do it everywhere else in the world. And we can do that promise that we once put forth was freedom, liberty, and justice for all with the pursuit of happiness. And you cannot pursue happiness if you are being oppressed, or if you have a tyrannical government, or if you have representation that does not represent you. If you have taxation without representation, you are not being represented. You are being oppressed. When your government no longer fears you and the people fear the government, it is tyranny. When the government fears the people, it is democracy. We need to make the government afraid of the people again, because we will vote them out, because we will take on every seat that is open because we will run for every office that is available, all the way down to county clerk and your local offices, because those are where democracy builds and starts and thrives. And if you are not participating or trying to participate in your school board or your town offices or your county clerk or your mayor's race or your city councils, you need to go to meetings. I need to get more involved there too. I have kids in school and I need to be more involved too, and I'm going to be. But I ask all of you to do it too, because it cannot just be me. It cannot just be myself, cannot just be Fred Pogue, cannot just be Lawrence Winterman, cannot just be Ellie Leonard, cannot just be Melissa Corrigan, cannot just be Shane Urick or Jacob Summers or Bobby Jones or Fred Wellman or Chris Goldsmith or Tim Fullerton or Dean Blundell or Zev Shalev or Olga Lautman or Lev Parnas or any of us. It cannot just be any of us alone. Those of us who are large and vocal, thank you. Thank you for the support to allow our voices to spread. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives and to spread our voice and our message into your lives and into your communities' lives, into your homes. I appreciate it, and I thank you for the trust you're giving us. And I need your trust back, and I need your action and engagement back as the thing that I ask of you on top of either paying or just listening is share, is spread the message, is email, forward the emails you get from us, forward the emails you get from our publications to your friends. Find a mailing list that you have, forward it, blast it out, shoot it out in a text group, put it on your Facebook page, add it to Reddit, do whatever you do. Repost it to other people's chats in Substack, post it if you pay for subscriber chats in other people's chats. Use those. They're a tool. They're a tool to add knowledge. They're a tool to place more information. I do it with my posts. I know some people don't enjoy it, so don't do it to some subscribers. Don't do it to small chats. Don't do it to people who have not encouraged it. You're welcome to add stuff to the Sick of This Shit with Nick subscriber chat and communicate and talk and share knowledge there. I encourage that because that's my platform and that's where I live outside of this. And share, because I reshare my stuff to those I pay for because they want us to. They want us to get more knowledge out, and knowledge is power, and power wins this back. And that's why I restack and share and put out and cross post. And you can do these things too. You can put them on your Facebook. It's easy. That's why we're doing it. We want to do this easy because the more you get involved with these little things like this, with online chats and online forums, without you knowing it, you're going to get more involved at home. You're going to get more involved in your community. I did it yesterday. Because I've been talking through this, I did something yesterday that I normally wouldn't do. I went up to somebody and I helped them in a way that I normally wouldn't, because I normally get in my car and just leave. And he became a subscriber of mine. He asked if he could buy me something to drink or something from the gas station. And I'll tell the whole story here because I think it's important. And I don't say this as an ego thing. I say this is how simple we can be to make somebody's day better, because you don't know what's happening in somebody's day, and you don't know if what you're doing is the thing that changes their day or their life. And it doesn't matter who they are. You offer a hand without wanting anything in return or asking anything in return. Those returns will be tenfold, will be 100-fold, because you're not asking for them to do anything. You're not trying to make or force them, but you're giving them love and care, and you're extending your sphere of influence to surround them for a time. Be it fleeting, be it forever. You've extended your sphere of influence around somebody, and that's civics. That's engagement. That's acting with purpose and intent. And that purpose and intent is building a community that is America, because America is a country of democracy, and a democracy is really just a big group of people coming together into a room and saying yes or no, I like this or I don't, and compromising. And to do that, you must respect one another, and you must have a foundation of sovereignty and dignity and rights and freedoms and care. And to do that and to have that, not only must we fight fire with fire, we must fight back like Gavin Newsom is doing in California to redistrict the state in a trigger law, because it's not gerrymandering what California is doing, it's a trigger law. Texas forced California to trigger a redistricting because they're trying to cheat. Stop calling it gerrymandering, friends. Do not buy into their terms that California is doing something wrong, because that reframes the story in a right-wing narrative. Gavin Newsom, for many of his failings and he has many, for all of his failings, he is an incredible man who is stepping up to do what is needed most at the time. He is using his privilege and his power to be civically minded and engaged, and he's trolling the fuck out of Donald Trump and the right wing, and they don't know what to do because he's doing what they're doing back at them. He's fighting fire with fire. He is redistricting his state so that the Republican effort is thwarted and stopped in Texas. Other states, J.B. Pritzker is doing it in Illinois. Illinois? Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, and Kathy Hochul in New York are doing it. Other blue states are doing it. Connecticut should do it. Massachusetts, even though they're already all blue, they should do it just for the point of it. Every single blue state, Maine should do it. Independent-minded states should do it. If you're in a state that leans blue, call your representatives, call your state representatives and your state senators and your governor and your offices in state and talk to them and tell them that you want them to follow in California's footsteps to create trigger laws to prevent gerrymandering and illegal vote stealing and redistricting and anti-constitutional efforts to steal the midterm elections and silence votes through representation that is not representative. Taxation without representation. We threw a big-ass Tea Party once to do it. Joe Walsh says it really well. It's our Tea Party moment now. That Tea Party moment wasn't conservative in the 1700s. That was radically progressive. That was a radical move. We are the radicals. We are in a Tea Party moment. We are regaining our voices and we are returning to what civics really is, and that's helping one another, and that's extending our sphere of influence, temporary or permanently, to those who need it. So what happened yesterday? I was at a gas station. I filled up my car or my truck, and I came out from the gas station after I got something to eat and drink, and I saw a gentleman who was having a really hard time. The oil flap underneath his car had come off. He was having a really hard time. He was trying to zip tie it in place, and he wasn't getting it right. It was in a tough spot. And so I went back to my truck, and instead of getting in it and leaving like I used to do or normally would have done, is I went over to him, or before I did, I called over and I asked him, "Hey, do you need any help?" He said, "Yeah, I would love some. I'm not mechanically inclined in any way, and I don't know what I'm doing." And I got on the ground after a VA doctor's appointment and laid down under his car in the gas station and helped him zip tie his mud bumper back up to the car so that he could get home safely without it rattling or ripping off and causing damage to either his vehicle or somebody else's on the road. He asked if he could pay me back in any way, get me something from the gas station. I didn't need or want, I don't want to use this money, but he did subscribe to me. I asked him instead, would you become a subscriber to my Substack? I write poetry and I do this. And you know what? I found out he works somewhere nearby in the area and works with poetry. And I made a new friend accidentally. And I changed my day because I just went and said hi and said, "Hey, do you need a little bit of help?" And I hope I changed his day for the positive, and he seemed to walk away from that strutting a little bit taller and a little bit stronger than he was before. And I need all of you to do the same. I need every single one of you to do the same, not expecting anything in return, not acting anything in return, not needing or wanting anything in return, but doing it all the same. It's that give your neighbor a cup of sugar mentality when they need it, when they're down, because you've been down too. You've been there. It's just remembering that you're human too, and you've been through the same shit that they're going through. And it's okay to go through a hard time, and it's okay to be lost. It's okay that they have shitty views right now. It's not okay that they enact on them and they act and they do shitty things, but it's okay that they have those views. We all have shitty views sometimes. We have all done shitty things. We've all said shitty things. We've all had shitty thoughts. I bet at one point, every single one of you has dreamed of robbing a bank. That's a pretty shitty thought. But we don't judge ourselves for that. We don't judge ourselves for our thoughts. We judge on actions. Yes, we can judge their actions, but we need to remember that they're humans too, and they've been lied to for a decade or longer. They have been lied to for at least a decade. We've all been lied to and gaslit for a decade, at least under Donald Trump. But they have been lied to because they're in a place of weakness, because they were suffering, because they needed help. And somebody reached out to them and lied to them and told them that they could be welcome into this community of hate if only they let out their hate too. And instead of loving each other and loving others, they were sold that their hate as a grift was the truth, that their hate was what they are, and the hate is who they are, and the hate is how they are and what they are and why they are and their whole being, and it's a lie. It's a grift and it's a lie, and they sell off hate and hurt and pain and destruction, and it's a lie to hurt our friends and tear our neighbors apart and our families away from us and to cause death and destruction and civil war. And I do not buy that lie anymore. I reject that lie. I dissent. As an American, as a citizen, as a veteran, I dissent. I dissent from the tyranny, and I ask for you all to dissent with me, to peacefully and patriotically dissent with me. Dissent from the tyranny by being the most American you can ever be, by living up to the American dream and the promise of the pursuit of happiness for all. I dissent on the theft of classified documents by Donald Trump and the sale of those documents to foreign actors in foreign countries, and our nuclear secrets to Russia, and having two nuclear submarines just sitting outside Russia that nobody is talking about. Yet Russia knows our nuclear submarine capabilities because the thief who took those documents is now sitting back in the White House, where those documents should have never been stolen out of, from those buildings, and that information he should have never had access to. And he stole our most classified and our most secret documents, and he sold them to the highest bidder. He sold them to our enemies and our adversaries, and he is traitorous, and he deserves what is coming. He deserves the day that he will have. They all do. They are anti-American. So I ask you to be for something. I ask you to be for America. I ask you to rise. I ask you to restore integrity, service, and ethics into the American ethos. I ask you to rise as we, the people, to stand up against Donald Trump and the hate and the bigotry and the MAGA grift and the lies that they have been sold and the people who have been hurt because of those lies. We all need to rise to restore integrity, service, and ethics to be more American than we have ever been before, but not performatively, but truly American. To live up to the dream, the promise of liberty and justice for all, the promise that all are created equal, because outdated laws are not, outdated words are not, all deserve equal. We, the people, all of us, not just men, not just women, but all people deserve the chance to freedom, to liberty and justice. So what you must do to stand up peacefully and patriotically, the easiest act you can take is to give some love to someone you don't know and not expect anything in return. Just expand your sphere of influence, expand your sphere of empathy, expand your sphere of care just for a moment, and give it to someone willingly without asking for anything in return, because what you do may change that person's life. And you will never know it. And you may be the hero in someone's story, and you will never know it. And that's the most wonderful gift you could ever give someone. is being a hero who has never needed the respect, never needs the acknowledgement, never needs or wants or asks or demands for anything in back because that's not heroic, that's selfish. Heroes don't ask for reward. Heroes don't ask for anything in return. And I don't ask for you to do anything more than expand your sphere of influence and extend it to someone you don't know and give it to them for a little bit and tell them that you care and show them that you care by action, not just by words, but by action. Do something to show that you care about someone else outside of your normal sphere of influence. Do not extend your sphere of empathy to everyone. Not everyone deserves it, but everyone does deserve a chance at redemption first. And that's the most American thing you can do right now is provide the opportunity for everyone to pursue happiness, to pursue liberty, pursue justice, to pursue freedom. And Americans are being oppressed and not allowed to pursue those things right now. Our American brothers and sisters and others who do not look like me, who may not look like some of you, are being oppressed. I am being oppressed. You are being oppressed. We are all being oppressed, but some more than others, and we must not stay silent because if we stay silent now, who will be there when they come for us? A Nazi wrote that. A Nazi asked that question when they came for him because no one was left for him because the Jews were gone, the bankers were gone, the workers were gone, the unions were gone, the disabled were gone, the mentally ill were gone, the others were all gone. Everyone he othered was all gone. The trans people were disappeared. Everyone, and nobody came for him. Nobody came to help him because he did not come for them. He did not extend his sphere of influence or his sphere of empathy long enough just to say, do you need help? Can I help you in some way? And never ask for anything in return. And that's all I ask of you. That's the biggest thing I ask of you now. I ask that you join us, subscribe to us, share us. That's part of this. That's the easiest thing you can ever do. All you can do is share. Share now. It's easy. Hit the little buttons, hit the likes, hit the hearts, share the post afterwards, share this recording to everyone you know, share it in chats and subscriber groups that you're a part of here on Substack, share it to other communities and other networks and other systems and social media, because everyone needs to hear that they can participate too, that it's easy to participate. It's so easy. They've sold you this lie that civics is this grand thing that you can never be a part of, but it's not. Civics is loving your neighbor and extending your sphere of influence and your sphere of empathy to others around you and giving back and being a part of it and caring. They've gotten us all to stop caring, and I ask you to care once again. I ask you to rise with me, to restore integrity, to restore service, to restore ethics, to build an America where the dream is possible again, where we can pursue happiness, but not only pursue it, but it's a guaranteed right for all, for we all deserve that right. No one is going to be left behind because we see you. I see you. I hear you. I listen when people communicate to me. I listen when people comment. And I'm sorry to some of you, those that I have not commented back to or gotten back to in messages as much. I still see you and I still hear you and I see you in the chats and I appreciate you. Thank you for staying involved, even though I may not be responding back always. I do not mean to offend, my friends. I do not mean to offend if I don't respond back. I've gotten very busy very fast. And that's the thing, is we all need to get very busy very fast. And we all need to give each other just a little grace right now as we learn and we grow and we build and we become better people with each other. And Robes, I see you, friend. I know. I'm sorry I haven't responded back to you. You too. And I hope everyone knows that we're all part of this. We all must learn. We all must be willing to learn and make mistakes and hear from each other and help and grow. And remember, give each other a little grace, because do unto others as we want done unto us, right? We live in a Judeo-Christian Islamic society. They're all Abrahamic religions. We live under the same dictates. Many of us learn those dictates not as law, but as moral and empathetic values. Remember those values, because those Christian values, those Jewish values, those Islamic values, those Buddhist values, those every value, the values you learned from your religions and your moral and ethical systems and your philosophies and the things that you have read and understood, learn and use those precepts now, and just act with courage. Love is worth it, because it's an easy thing to give a little bit of right now. We all don't have a lot, but it's easy just to give a little. Give a little to somebody who needs a little help. You see someone in need, help them. Just ask. Just ask if they need help. If you see someone hurting, ask. If you know a friend is reaching out in a way and saying, I'm hurting, ask if they're okay. You may change somebody's day, and you can change a life. And that's the first step to being involved in civics. And that's the first step of rebuilding the American community. And then from there, run for something. Encourage others to run for something and be part of this society and be part of the system, because with citizenship comes responsibility. There is a responsibility to uphold the laws of this nation, to defend and support the Constitution. It is our responsibility to take the citizen's oath, each and every single one of us, to remember that we have a responsibility too, that being a citizen is not free of charge, and that we must rise together and restore this nation. I'm going to end that here. And I appreciate every single one of you for coming today, every single one of you for being active in the chat. I know I haven't been fully responsive to the chat going on. I've been hearing it, and I was kind of on a little bit of a preach. But I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you for coming. Banner and Backbone is building strong. And again, as I said before, thank you to every single one of you who has become a paid subscriber of ours, as well as our free subscribers. This community cannot do it without you. We have now raised over $1,000, which is going to be used towards charity and donations towards Epstein victim litigations, finding the truth and figuring out what's going on in pro-democracy efforts to ensure that America is secure and America can live on, and that we can live in a democracy and a republic that represents us once again. So thank you all. Do the easy thing today. Share this, send it wide, and then offer your sphere of influence and your sphere of empathy for others to love. Thanks, y'all. Have a great day, and catch me here soon with Lawrence Winterman and Tim Fullerton. And then this afternoon, Lawrence Winterman, Frederick Pogue, and I for the Wizards Council. I'll talk to you all soon, and have a great afternoon. Thanks, everyone, again for being here in the chat. Love to everyone. Spread your love and be kind. Thanks, y'all.